Ciao Tesla people. Today I wanted to touch up on a topic that is not well discussed or people don't know much about it, and are the hidden cost of charging an electric vehicle. In particular here I'm talking about the Tesla, but this is pretty much valid for any EVs, okay? So last time I showed how much I did the review of the car, and I showed how much I spent in electricity. So my distance in kilometers, I made 6,586 kilometers in total for the car, and the total energy spent was 1,233 kilowatts hour. So this energy is the energy consumed by the car by driving these kilometers, okay? It's not the total energy that I put in the car. And this is the average energy per kilometer, which is pretty good here. Lower is this number, more kilometers you do per watts, okay? So this energy, the total energy, is for driving the car, actual driving, okay? If you go to the graphs, here, it will show you actually what you consume when you drive the car. Okay, so there is the driving, the climate, battery conditioning, elevation, and then everything else. Okay, if you go to park, it shows you the percentage of the battery consumed by each components of the car. Okay, so there is preconditioning, screen time, cabin overheat protection, Sentry Mode, the mobile app connection, and summon standby and vehicle standby. Okay, so an EV consume energy even by standing by, you know, just parked. Okay, so now I wanted to show you from the mobile app how much I charged. So I charged 1,730 kilowatts hour. Okay, that's the total charge of superchargers, other AC chargers, other high-speed chargers, and charging at home. I showed some videos, okay? So 1,730 kilowatts, and the total instead kilowatts that I spend by driving it is 1,233. So basically there is a 500 kilowatts difference. Okay, 1,233 driven, 1,730 charged to the car. Okay, so there are 500 kilowatts. Basically, a bit more than a third is consumed by the car functioning. Okay, like air conditioning, the screen time, Sentry Mode, all the other components, while you're not driving, okay? Which is, I think it's a bit a lot, okay? And Tesla is one of the most efficient cars, so I can't imagine what other cars do. And that depends from what electronic systems they use, okay? But in this charging, okay, the difference between this charge, total charge, 1,730 kilowatts hour, and 1,233, there's also the losses of charging an EV. So when you go to charge to a DC charge, if you notice, the cable are pretty big. So a Tesla is a 400 volts architecture for the battery, and most of the superchargers supported at 400 volts. Now they have the newer ones have 800 volts for the Cybertruck. Okay, so if you increase the voltage, you decrease the current at equal power that you're charging, which means you have less losses on the cables, because current will heat up the cables, and that heat is lost. The current are lost by heating. Okay, Same as you know, in a ICE car, most of the energy consumed is lost by the heat of the engine. Okay, it's a similar concept. Heat means losses. So I just did research, and if you DC charge your car, your EV, the charger usually are a 10% loss. So from the charger to the car, there are a 10% loss. This is probably an average. Some cars they do better, some cars they do worse. But that, of course, you have to keep in mind. Okay, so of that 1,000, how much was it? 1,730 kilowatts hour that I charge. Most likely, some are lost in the charging. Okay. For example, on AC charger, this car has a 11 kilowatts inverter, and that's another loss. So if you AC charging, the losses are around, the conversion is around 90%, which means if you put 1 kilowatt, you actually convert the 900 watts available to inside the battery. 10% is lost in conversion from whatever AC to AC. For example, if you have if you go from 220 to 110, or you know, are losses in the equipment. Okay. So instead, if you have DC charging, it looks like that just the cable you have around 4% losses due to the high current and the heat and the dispersion. Okay, so if you think about it, when you go to charge your car and you see the charging on money on whatever app you use, if you use the Tesla app or if you use other apps for other providers, you always see a small difference between what they say they provided to you and what in reality you get a percentage of charge or kilowatts hour charge to your battery. So that difference is a loss. And then of course you have to keep in mind that there are losses behind the charger from high voltage transportation of energy to the transformer and the inverters and the DC equipment of the charging station. So these are all hidden costs, and there are some hidden costs, of course, for the providers, whatever is Tesla or other providers, and hidden cost of you charging your car. For charging, okay, this was pretty close. For charging, and even for just having an electric vehicle and you know, having the car standby. Of course, Tesla has different equipment. It has all the cameras and stuff. So if I remember correctly, Sentry Mode, it consumes around 5% in one day. I did a couple of tests, and it really doesn't depend a lot from how many events it records. Of course, if you record 100 events, it will be significant charging, actually consumption. But I did one with few events and other one with more events. It was 5 and 6% of the battery. So these are all, you know, losses that you incur in having an EV, running an EV or not running an EV. There are always losses. Okay. Then the other thing is, oh yeah, I wanted to mention about the Sentry Mode, that I read that Tesla is working on it to reduce that 5% loss. This, you know, I did the test, but maybe for other people is more or less. It depends where you live, for example, how cold it is and all that stuff. The battery can consume more. They were mentioning, Tesla was mentioning that they are working on a software update to reduce that consumption of Sentry Mode to reduce it by 40%, which is going to be is going to be good. So you can use Sentry Mode more times, a lot more. So these is interesting, and not many people talk about this stuff. But having an electric vehicle, you consume energy by driving it and by just having it stand by, because you have a huge battery, of course, but you have a computer. Most of these cars have a computer running most of the time. Okay, and then there are a bunch of other losses due to charging losses and conversion of AC to DC and all that stuff. So if you have any questions, if you have any statistics, I searched online for these statistics, and there were different numbers, but an average was a pretty good. A pretty good numbers here for so if you have any question, please leave it in a comment, or if you have more data, please leave in a comment. I'm very interested in it. I just wanted to keep this idea on people that are approaching to EV. Maybe some people don't know about this stuff, and they'll ask, hey, why I'm charging this, but in reality I'm spending more. That's the reason. There are electrical losses, power losses in various systems. Losses or usage, okay? Like Sentry Mode is, or air conditioning is a usage, but losses is because the equipment while you are charging. And it's a bit difference between AC and DC charging. Anyway, wanted to just mention this. Please comment down below, put a like to this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on next video. Ciao, Tesla people.